Hey, Ducks fans, Michael Polak with you for another episode of Off the Fowl Pole. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we'd like to extend a welcome to the Gastonia Honey Hunters, the newest team to join the Atlantic League. They just announced their team name this week, so a big welcome to them, and we'll certainly look forward to the Honey Hunters coming up to Long Island, and then the Ducks heading down to North Carolina for another team in addition to the Rockers in 2021. With us this week is one of the more recent members of the Long Island Ducks. He was with the Ducks in 2019 and also pitched with the Ducks in 2017 as well. And both times he was with the Flock, he ended up pitching in the major leagues later that year. So pretty impressive stuff from right-hander Tim Melville. Tim, thanks so much for joining us from your home out in Arizona. How's everything been for you?
Doing well, Mike. Thank you for having me on. Just kind of in the middle of the off season right now. So everything's been great and just excited to get back to baseball here soon.
Now, last year you had the opportunity to pitch in Taiwan, and I know you were telling me you're going to have that chance to pitch in Taiwan again next year. So, given how long their season is, your off season really isn't that much of an off season, is it?
Yeah, well, last year with the pandemic, I think it kind of pushed everybody back, but we
Okay.
didn't get done until November. So I got home and, Thanksgiving and then Christmas. So, it was a very quick turnaround to get to this point. And I'm leaving next week for spring training, middle of January. So their spring training runs until about the end of March or middle of March or so. And then the games start. So they take a few days off during the week. They're pretty relaxed kind of league and the travel's okay. But there's only 5 teams in the league, so kind of small.
Okay.
But a lot of action, a lot of games. So it's an interesting league for sure. But they soak it in, man. They have baseball all year there almost. It feels like.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, if you don't come back until the end of November and you're going back there in mid January, that's what, like a 6 week off season. As a pitcher who's used to maybe being off from October, at least the end of October, if not earlier, through January, late January, February, how much does that affect how you prepare for the next season and rest?
Doesn't really change too much. A little bit with the throwing. I think this year I've done a lot more throwing in the off season. I feel like I had a lot of time off early in the spring. Baseball was shut down here in America, so I joined the Taiwan League in July last year. So I kind of had about half of the season, and my body felt great after the year. So I said, why not just keep throwing? So, as a professional, every year is going to be different for you. You might, sign later or be with a team or get injured. So you kind of always have to be able to adjust your throwing program and training program to be ready at any moment.
And pretty exciting, too, that you were able to win a championship last year in Taiwan, too.
That was just icing on the cake.
It
it
looked
was
like a lot of
great.
fun.
Yeah, it's a cool league. If anybody hasn't checked it out, they do have some broadcasts on Twitter, and it's a good way to see their style of the play is different, and also the way they have the fans engaged in the game is almost completely different than American baseball. They have a live band, and usually they have dancers on top of the dugout,
Wow.
cheerleaders, and they're getting the crowd moving and the band is getting the crowd singing, and it's just loud. And that's one word I could just describe it as, just loud, and especially during the playoffs. So it only seats 10 to 15 to 20,000 people, but it
Okay.
honestly feels like 40,000, 50,000 people in the stadium because
With all
everybody
that
is
noise.
just
Yeah.
so loud. Yeah. So hopefully when COVID opens up, a lot more baseball fans in America can have a chance to, check out baseball in Asia, because it is awesome.
Yeah, definitely. It helped this year, especially with ESPN broadcasting games from Korea and obviously, as you mentioned, Taiwan games being out on Twitter. So it gave fans in America a chance to catch baseball in another culture and see what life is like out there. You brought up the fans and the atmosphere from the fans, and obviously had that opportunity to play through the pandemic. So take me back through that. Were there fans there the entire season that you were there? And about how many fans would you say were there on a nightly basis?
So I got there. I joined in July, so they had
Right.
already done a lot of things, early in the season without having any fans. And they slowly kind of build up the fan base as they go on, as far as capacity percentages. But by the end of the season, they were pretty much at max capacity, and we were in the playoffs, and it felt like a few weeks, and every game was pretty much sold out, and the energy there was awesome to have, because I watch baseball back in America, and unfortunately the fans aren't there. You got cardboard cutouts,
Right.
fake audience sounds. It's a little tough to play in that atmosphere.
I can
But
imagine so.
it was very special, and very grateful to have an opportunity to play somewhere where it's an island, so they stayed very much in control of the situation as far as the pandemic goes. So it was a cool experience.
So by the time the playoffs hit, there were no restrictions at all on the capacity of how many fans came in.
Yeah, it was probably around 90 to 100%
Wow.
allowed in. But they'd done just such a good job in the country as far as cases go that, I think all the government officials and the baseball officials, felt like that was okay.
Right.
So we still have a lot of precautions, temperature checks and everything like that to be able to allow that to happen. I think Taiwan as a country, they did a lot of things that really got them to that point to be able to enjoy, regular baseball. So.
Yeah, you mentioned the temperature checks and protocols. Take me through as a player some of the things you had to do on a regular basis each day while you were out there to make sure that you all stayed safe.
So for those not familiar, Taiwan Island, right off the coast of China. So they've kind of dealt with pandemics in the past and situations like that. So my first experience was I flew out in July. I had to have a negative COVID test, and then once I flew in, I spent 2 weeks in quarantine at a hotel. So I off the plane, taxi, hotel, and I was there for 2 weeks. I had my temperature. I checked my temperature every day. I had phone
Yeah.
conversations. They track your cell phone.
Oh, wow.
So very, very strict quarantine rules, fines if you leave your room.
They're
So
not messing around.
those are the guidelines I think that they've done in the past, and they pretty much initiated those immediately. And it's an island of 36 million people, so there's a lot of people there, but
Yeah.
they have a lot of people coming in. So it took a lot of work, I think, for them to set up the hotels and to do the flights and everything like that. So that was my first experience. And after I got out of quarantine, I had to wear a mask continually for about a week or so. But then after that, I only had to wear a mask, and as far as transportation situations, so for a taxi or for a train ride or something like that, a bus ride, I had to wear a mask. But outside of that, I was able to continue to be free. So I think if you look at their numbers in Taiwan, they've kept them really low, and I think that's because of some of the protocols and systems they have in place. But it's just I just thanked everybody there at the island, everybody, because they just gave me an opportunity to play the game that I love, and I really appreciated it. And,
Right.
the fans, to give them a championship for our team was very special.
Yeah, for sure. Special is the right word to describe it. And I'm glad that they were able to keep you all as safe as possible while you were out there. Now, you were with the Uni President Lions last year, right?
Yes.
And then you're planning on returning to the Lions for this upcoming season?
Yes. Me and two other foreigners that pitched there as well.
Oh, okay. Did you have any sort of relationship or familiarity with those two beforehand?
No, I hadn't met him before. Brock
Okay.
Dykeshorn, he's from Canada, and then Teddy Stankiewicz, he was in the Boston Red Sox system.
Okay.
So he most recently was with them, and then unfortunately needed a job. So both those guys joined the team right when I did, about halfway through the season, and the three of us just did pitch very well. So they were gracious enough to offer us another contract for this year. So we decided to, defend our title next year. So we're pretty excited about it. Pretty pumped.
That's awesome. And there's been a litany of Ducks players throughout history that have made their trip from Long Island out to Taiwan. Darren Downs in recent years, Bruce Kern, Alec Asher, who was with the Ducks in 2019 as well. There have been so many that have gone on to lead successful careers out there, probably most notably of which was Mike Lowry back in 2011 and 12 with the Ducks. And he's become a rock star over there in Taiwan.
Yeah, I got a chance to meet Mike. He's an awesome guy.
Nice.
And he has really made a name for himself out there. I think they initiated a new rule. If you play, I can't remember the number. I think it's about, if you play 10 years in the league, you're not considered a foreigner.
Oh,
So
wow.
each team is allowed 4 foreign players, and you can only have 3 foreign players on the major league roster.
Okay.
So I think Mike's around 7 years maybe or something
Yeah.
like that. So they created the Michael Lowry rule. If you play 10 years in Taiwan, you don't take a roster spot for a foreign player. So
Oh, wow.
we'll see if he can reach that milestone in the next few
Yeah.
years. But man, he's a great pitcher.
He's
He
well
did
on
very
his
well
way.
against us. He did very well against us, and he really knew how to make adjustments in that league, because the hitters are different and stuff. So
Yeah.
it is
Do you
it is
tend to
quite the
see
adjustment.
they're more aggressive or a little bit more patient at the plate?
A little bit more patient. the confidence is very high there. I mean,
Wow.
if you throw in on them, they'll get right back up on the plate, and they'll slap the ball the other way, no problem. Hand-eye coordination is off the charts. They will battle. I mean, you'll see really long at bats sometimes with these hitters, and they're putting good swings on a lot of pitches, and they do just try to wear you out. As a hitting group, you just want to get that starter out of there as quick as possible and try to get into the bullpen. So they play the game hard, hit and run, steals. I mean, they play to win out there because it is a very competitive league. Like I said, there's only 5 teams in the league, so everybody is really, really competitive.
It sounds like an increased competition will only increase your effort and your gaming level. So if that helps you out in the long run, that's more power to everybody who's in that league. So I want to take you back now to 2017, your first year with the Ducks. You signed with the team, joined them at the beginning of the season. Found for the most part pretty big success, and it culminated with that 14 strikeout performance in New Britain. Speak about your memories from that first year with the Ducks and adjusting to playing in the Atlantic League for the first time and facing the competition that you faced there.
So we had Baez, right? The manager. He was awesome, man. Just first day I was there, just let me know, if you need anything, we're here to take care of you. And, that goes for everybody else there as well. Just very open, awesome organization. Just really made me feel at home. I never lived in Long Island before, so this is kind of a first for me. And, just got me set up right away to be able just to focus on baseball. So, that was part of the key of that culmination of that 14K strikeout game was I was just having fun, man. I was just going out there pitching, winning games, and just really enjoying myself and not have to worry about too much. It's a change of scenery for me, but I really felt like home, and I had some great success there. And hanging out with some guys who had played there for a while too, Browning and a few others, they just helped me with whatever I needed, and it was just an awesome experience. And that 14 strikeout game, I don't think I'd ever done that before elsewhere, probably outside of high school, but it was just a culmination of just continuing to just focus on baseball and hard work, and it allowed me to just elevate my performance, and it was awesome.
I think the thing that struck me most was kind of how effortless it looked for you and how well you were dealing that night up in New Britain. But the other thing too is you rarely see performances like that in the back end of a doubleheader, and that was the second game of a single admission doubleheader. And as a starter, you're so developed in your routines and sticking to them and going out before a game. When it's in the middle of a doubleheader, you've only got that short window in between the two games to really get ready, and you never really know how long that first game is going to go. So did that at all affect you going into that start?
Just gotta be prepared.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one word in being a professional and in life. You just have to prepare for any instant and just be ready for that moment. And it just takes time. Over my career, I've had plenty of starts and seasons, months where I just wasn't prepared to go do my job. So I think it's just continuing to be able to do that. And you have your daily life, and your stress and stuff like that can kind of build up on you in certain parts of the season. And that season, everything about it was just so stress free, and I was just having fun, and just had a great defense behind me and a great team behind me, a great catcher, Pacheco, and we just felt confident, on the same page. It was awesome.
And of course, after that 14 strikeout performance, you joined the Minnesota Twins organization. And then in a blink of an eye, you're back in the major leagues and pitching for Minnesota. When take me back to the time when you got the call up. You were told, hey, you're going back to the big leagues. You're going to start for the big club. I believe it was against the White Sox that day.
Yeah, it was kind of the same situation too, just kind of like out of the blue, like, hey, pack your stuff. You're going to Chicago, and you're going to have to pitch. And same thing, it was a doubleheader. I led off the doubleheader. I didn't go necessarily as well as I thought it would. Had a little hiccup in my last inning or so, but I did the best I could, and it was just an awesome experience to go from Long Island back to the big leagues in such a short amount of time. And I mean, people were kind of in awe.
Yeah.
How'd you do it? How'd you stay committed? And I mean, I just say, man, I just had a lot of help along the way. A lot of people just made it very stress-free, and I was able to just to focus on baseball. And I really didn't change my game plan. I was able to remain consistent with my game plan throughout the year, Long Island to AAA in Rochester, and then to the big leagues. And it just helped me out a lot of success that year.
Did it catch you by surprise at all when you found out you were getting the call up so quickly after playing with Long Island? And now that time has passed, have you ever had that chance to kind of sit back and look on it and say, wow, I can't believe I was able to make that journey so quickly?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I mean, because you're always thinking about it. I mean, that's the goal, is to continue to move forward and move up. But to do it so quickly was definitely kind of a shocker. I think afterwards, I just was having fun wherever I was pitching that year. I was pitching at Long Island. I was just focused on that, winning the games there, and then pitching Rochester, the same thing. So it just it did kind of sneak up on me, but I don't think I really sat back and realized how many levels I had moved through until after the season, and how much progress. And I had times in the past where, I mean, I'd be in the same level for like 2 years, but to move and change teams like I did that year, that was pretty unique.
Then, of course, you ended up making it up with the Padres later that year. 2019, we flash forward. You're back with the Ducks at the beginning of the season. Going into that 2019 season, what was your mindset of what you were hoping to accomplish that year? Was it the same thing as 2017? I want to get back to the major league, or was there any other specific goals that you had in mind going into your second spot?
No, I think there's a little bit before I showed up to Long Island. It's like, okay, like we can do this again. Like I'm gonna go to Long Island, pitch well, and then hopefully someone has an opportunity for me as a spot, and then make moves from there. I believed it could have happened, but I would be lying if I said 100% knew it was going to happen. So
right.
I think I came into the situation again just being free and open, and the same thing happened. I just had the help and support of you guys and the staff and the coaching staff, and I was able to just focus on the game. And that's ultimately what it boils down to, is just being able to have fun. And I was able to do that, and I think you guys provided just a great atmosphere for me to just go pitch, and it was great, and I had a lot of fun. I was able to do it again, make it back up to the big leagues, and had some memorable moments with the Rockies as well. So it was definitely awesome.
Before we get to the Rockies, at the beginning of the season, you brought up Kevin Byes before, new manager this time around with Wally Backman at the helm. And I know you brought him up in your virtual ring ceremony video. How special was it to pitch for a guy like Wally with all the success he has had in professional baseball? And what did he kind of reiterate to you at the beginning of the season when you joined the rotation?
Yeah, I kind of grew up watching Wally, just the highlight videos you kind of watch on YouTube, and see him back in the day. And I mean, I just feel like he's the same guy when he's the manager. He's just a good player. He's just focused on the game and focused on winning. So when I knew he was going to be our manager, that's just, it's just going to be an opportunity for me to, kind of hang out with him, see what he thinks about certain things about the game, and just to, just get advice on winning. I think that's the goal of every team and every player, is just to win a championship. So I think he just exuberates that vibe, and, he wants everybody around him to be successful. And, it was a short period with him, but he just really makes a quick impact on players and the team and everybody around him. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm just so happy the team was able to pull it off that year. And it's great for the organization and great for everybody in it to win it and to have it pay off and to have the ring and everything and the trophies. And I mean, that's the goal, and it's so awesome when it all comes together. But that year it was it was good for me. I kept a close eye, even though I wasn't there anymore. But it was cool to see everything play out the way it did.
It had to be hard to watch the games with that time difference between. Well, actually, no, you weren't in Taiwan yet, but between all of what you were focusing on with the major leagues and the Rockies and everything like that, it had to have been such a whirlwind year for you to keep an eye on everything.
Yeah, but it's a shared excitement. I could tell how excited everybody was and how happy the fans were, and it was. I just couldn't have felt more happy for everybody there as well. Just well deserved and just an awesome moment.
You talk about it being such a short time. It was only 2 starts. Even the fans on Long Island didn't get a chance to see you. You had 2 starts on
Yeah.
the road, both in
Yep.
Pennsylvania, both
Yep.
wins, and then on opening night, you're off to the Rockies. And you mentioned you make it back to the major leagues. And this time around, you had that success that I'm sure you were looking for in 2017. What was that first start like, and getting that first win for you after all these years of having been
Yeah.
in the major leagues a couple times, but not having the success you wanted to finally get there and get that W?
This kind of felt like the third time. Third time's a
Third
charm.
time's a charm. Yep.
So I'd been up with the Reds, been up with the Twins, and just hadn't had a win yet. So from something like that to kind of cherish and see, and just see me succeed on that stage, I think was really fulfilling for a lot of people that have helped me along the way. So I just felt like it was such an awesome opportunity for the Rockies to give me.
Sure.
But there's so many people on the way that got me to that moment, and
Right.
it's something really, really special and really fun to have happened. So
Am I
I'm happy.
mistaken, or did you get a hit in that game as well?
I did.
I mean, talk about a dream debut. You're there. You're focusing on trying to keep the Diamondbacks lineup at bay and just give them innings and give them length. But not only that, you're contributing offensively too.
Yeah, it's extremely special. I mean, that was icing on the cake. You always think about it in defensive. So, I was able to do it that game. And I feel like I've always kind of like played, that's how I've always played the game. It's just
Right.
try to be well rounded, because when you're a kid, you're always pitching and then you're playing shortstop at third base. So, any way you can contribute to the team winning, it just felt so satisfactory to me. So, just to be able to do it and have everybody watching, and I'd be like, yeah, I can hit. Like
Yeah.
whoever doubted me, I can say I got a hit in the big leagues. So it's cool.
So when you go back to that day and you think about the reaction of the teammates that you had around you, I mean, a lot of them might not have known your full story, but I'm sure a lot of them did know your story, knew you were a guy that they called up to make a start and gets his first win, he gets his first hit. What was the reaction of your teammates that day?
I actually got a beer shower, which was awesome.
Ah,
After the game, I had to get in the laundry cart, and they pushed me around and poured some cold beer on me and shaving cream and all the fun stuff. But
oh boy.
it definitely matched all the energy I had in that moment. But I had a few friends on the team, and I think they kind of let everybody know, my story a little bit in the journey, and I was able to kind of put all that pressure off and go and execute. And it wasn't until later I was able to kind of sit back and really appreciate the moment. But the Rockies are
Sure.
just such a first class organization. They really gave me that opportunity to have that moment and run with it, and give me more starts, and I was able to close out the season with them, which was awesome. But
Yeah.
yeah, just the game is so awesome, and there's so many things to love about it. The grass, the umpires, the weather, the pitches, the hitting, the fielding, whatever it is. I mean, it's just such a wonderful game, and my little moment is very special to me and a few other people, and it's cool to talk about and share. But it's just, I don't know, it's just how cool the game is.
Yeah.
The stories and everything are just awesome that come out of
They call soccer the beautiful game, or I guess football around the world, but really
it.
it's such a beautiful game, and there's so many different aspects of it that make it special. And you'll have that moment forever. It was something that I know all of us on Long Island were watching in 2017 and in 2019. All the
I
players in
got
the
the text
clubhouse.
messages. Yes.
Yep, everybody's sitting around the TV in the clubhouse and in the press box watching your start, and it was certainly incredible to see a journey like that. And you're the only guy who's gone in 2 separate years and gotten back to the major leagues after 2 stints with Long Island. There have been other players who have played on Long Island and then gotten up to the big leagues with 2 different teams, but you're the first to have 2 separate stints with Long Island and make it back up. And of course, both times you did it in the same year. So just
Oh,
incredible
that's
stuff for
awesome.
sure.
Yeah, that's great.
So a few things aside from baseball, one of the things that I know you're most passionate about is food, and specifically it's barbecue food. And
Yeah.
and you in Arizona, they've got plenty of delicious barbecue out there. Talk to me about some of the things that you've done working in the barbecue industry and how important that is to you.
So I guess I enjoy food. I enjoy barbecue. I have a big family I come from. So when I was kids, they would just have like big whole hog roast and stuff like that down
Wow.
in Virginia. So that was kind of my introduction to barbecue, is the ability for barbecue to spread love and happiness to a large group of people, and just to have a good party.
Yep.
And I think it's just, I've always been attracted to that kind of vibe. And there's a restaurant out here that I ate there one time, and I was like, this feels like the same exact thing, but no one here is related. Everybody was a stranger, but we all sat in line. We all were excited about the food, and we all sat down and had this great meal together. And it's outdoors, and there's smoke, and there's fire, and there's food, and it's just amazing environment. So a few off seasons ago, I was just like, I kind of want to work there. I'm kind of tired of going and playing golf in the afternoons, but if I could spend my time spreading, good vibes and good food, then I'm gonna be more happy as a person. So
Right.
I was able to work there and do that, and really get to learn how to make good barbecue and treat people right and give them good service and good experience in a restaurant atmosphere. So I was definitely, the greenhorn, or the new guy. When
Yep.
I got there, they're like, "Oh, you played professional baseball for 9 years. You played in the big leagues." I'm like, "All right, yeah, buddy. Like, go take out the trash, go clean the toilets. Like, yeah, all right, keep talking, whatever." Work the cashier and scrub everything, and I loved it. I
Hey.
didn't care that I was the bottom rung guy, but I had a lot of fun there, and made a lot of friends. And I honestly don't think they knew I played baseball until
Okay.
they saw me on TV playing against the Diamondbacks. So
Right.
I invited them a few out to that game, but to have it here in Arizona, where I was working at a barbecue restaurant 6 months before, and also I had gone to one of the first Diamondbacks games that season, because I wasn't on a team yet. I wasn't in Long Island
Right.
yet. I'd gone to a game there and watched them play the Red Sox, and to go and beat that team and to also pitch in that stadium like 7 months later was mind blowing.
Yeah,
So
that's a
it
surreal
was awesome.
circle of events right there.
Yeah, me and my girlfriend had gone to the game, and I was sitting there watching the game, like, I'm gonna be here. Like, it just felt like a weird kind of, I'm watching this game, but like I know I should be out there and playing the game, and to
Right.
actually do it was just mind blowing to me. So it was such a cool experience. But that year after I'd worked at the barbecue restaurant, I came to Long Island, and then I'm like, I'm looking for all the barbecue spots. So there's a few on Long Island, but I went to Izzy's down near the city in New York City, and they had some great barbecue there. And that
There you
guy's
go.
blowing up. You can find him on YouTube, Izzy's Barbecue. And it's just a universal food. It's just everywhere, and
Yeah.
it's so great. And people can just go to New York, go to Arizona, and have it in Taiwan, and just have a great laid back kind of meal. Nothing too fancy, tux or suit or anything like that. Just
Right.
some great food and some great people working in the kitchen, and you can't ask for anything better than that, man. It's awesome.
There are certainly some good barbecue spots on Long Island and New York for sure. And not that anybody wants to hear my stories, but with the Ducks going down when they played against the Skeeters in Sugar Land, Texas, I can vouch that Texas barbecue is phenomenal. I've been to a few places down there, and the barbecue down there is great. But I've yet to go to Arizona. It is definitely on my list to check out. I have been to Carolina, and I've had some barbecue down there. Pretty good. My all-time favorite though would be Kansas City.
Kansas
Went
City,
there
yeah.
about little over 3 years ago, and went to three different barbecue places, and without a doubt, it was my all-time favorite barbecue.
I like Gates Barbecue in Kansas City. A little bit nicer, like bigger restaurant, but they
Yeah.
have it's macaroni and cheese, but sorry, cream corn.
Uh-huh.
It's phenomenal. I've never had anything else like it elsewhere.
I
But yeah,
actually,
I mean, barbecue is awesome. Like, there's so
yeah,
many different types of it. It really is, like, in my mind, there's not really like one that's like the best, because you're always like, I
trying
feel
new.
like
They're all a little bit
one is
different.
getting topped. I have like my best rib place, my best turkey, or my best brisket place, or
Hmm.
you know whatever, best pulled pork place. I have those like in my mind, but I'm always trying new places, so those are always changing for me. So
Yeah.
I like Texas style brisket, but I like St. Louis style ribs, or
Hmm.
so it's pretty awesome,
Little
the
bits and
barbecue
pieces from
world.
every single one.
Yeah, you can get deep into the barbecue world. It's crazy.
Yes, without question. I would love to live in that world. That would be my paradise right there. The second food thing that I wanted to bring up was when, after you were with the Ducks the first time, you went to AAA Rochester with the Minnesota Twins, and there was a little video segment where you went around and learned about making and eating garbage plates.
Yes.
I've experienced the garbage plate having gone to school up in Ithaca, New York, which is just a short drive from Rochester. But for those who haven't experienced the garbage plate, why don't you give our fans some insight?
If you haven't, you're missing out. And I think that was what I realized on that day.
Yeah.
It was just, the potatoes, and I put meat on mine, but onions and, just everything you could think of that would just qualify as like able to go on a plate. They put it on there. And that's where the name garbage plate comes from. But that's just, it's an amazing smorgasbord. But, it's just the atmosphere, the people are excited about the food. That is so cool to be in that environment, talking about it, and the tradition of it, and just the legacy and everything involving that part of New York and Rochester is just cool. And you can taste it. It just takes you back to that place. And so it's cool. It's an awesome plate, and I was really happy to have tried it, but also happy to have rocked it. So our team name was the Garbage Plate. They changed our name.
They changed it for one
time.
night for the garbage plates.
Yeah, for a few nights during the year, they'll change
awesome.
the Rochester Garbage Plates, and they have the jerseys and everything like that. So it's cool. It's awesome. I love stuff like that.
That's incredible. Yeah, it was definitely a culinary experience for sure. I remember when I had my first one, and I will never forget it. That is for sure. But of course, now you spent time last year in Taiwan. You're going back. Talk about the food atmosphere there, because that's definitely a lot different than it is in America.
So over the years now, we've kind of established I find these places, I find like the local thing and try it. So I was like, obviously I got to figure out what the local thing in Taiwan is. Taiwan, they have a lot of places called night markets. So they're just big kind of street food vendors. It's almost like a fair, but they're legit. It's not like churros and stuff. I mean, it's just dumplings and awesome cuts of meat. And I mean, there's a lot of niche little places you can get like oysters and like seafood and just all this different type of stuff, but in these little vendors. But the one thing through all my research, because you can go on YouTube and watch hours of street vendors, and there's hundreds of them and all different types of food. The one food I wanted to try when I went to Taiwan through all my research was sticky tofu.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of sticky tofu.
I've never had it. I've had tofu, not sticky tofu.
You've had tofu. So yes. I believe it's soy protein, but it's put into a square, and they took it a step further there. And I believe it's mainly Chinese, but in Taiwan, they have sticky tofu where they ferment the tofu, and it's fermented sometimes up to like 6 months. So you can imagine the smell is intense, all those bacteria, all those microbes kind of working together, creating this fermented dish. And then they fry it, or sometimes they put it in a soup. And you can go on YouTube and watch people, or you can watch my video of me eating it. And it is intense. That is one word to describe it. It is intense. The flavoring, I've heard people describe it as diapers.
Well, that sounds appealing.
It is along those lines of a very sulfur heavy type of dish. But I ate there. I tried it. I tried the most intense version, which is, I believe it's the soup version. So it's hot diapers because it was hot. And then the other version they do is a little bit toned down. It's fried, and they add some onions, green onions, and a few other sauce toppings on it. But people love it. I mean, they eat it as appetizer, and then they'll just go crush their meal. But they're eating, those little chunks. They'll eat like 10 of them, just like no big deal. I had one, and I could barely muster to get through it. But yeah,
there's video of you eating this.
There's video of me eating it on my Instagram, Tim Melville, but it's on YouTube, and it is intense to say the least. And I can't wait to go back and try it. There's a few other versions I want to try in a few places that are kind of renowned for it, but it is legit their garbage plate as far as, just kind of like the meal, what I mean? Like they're known for this. And they have a lot of other great food there as well that I got to try. And I can talk for hours about that stuff, but I would suggest going to YouTube, checking out some of the street vendors they have there. A lot of fun. The night markets is what they call it.
Well, I know what I'm doing this afternoon, and that's watching Tim Melville eat sticky tofu. Well, Tim, it was a pleasure to have you on Off the Foul Pole. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Continued success to you in 2021, pitching over in Taiwan, and congratulations on all your success. I'm so happy that the Atlantic League was able to be used to help you get to that level that you wanted to get back to, and you, like many others throughout Ducks history and the Atlantic League's history, have been able to enjoy that success in large part because of the Atlantic League.
Yeah, forever grateful, and thank you to all the fans as well for tuning in and for cheering us on.
Well, Tim, it was a pleasure having you once again, and fans, we'll see you next time on Off the Foul
Yeah.
Ball. So long, everybody.